Welcome, deep divers. You know that feeling, right, where you're kind of caught between yesterday's memories and tomorrow's to-do list?
Oh, absolutely. It's like life is pulling you in a million directions at once.
Exactly. You're scrolling your phone, maybe planning dinner while you're still eating breakfast. We just seem to rush through everything.
And then you look back and think, wait, where did the day go? Did I actually experience any of it?
It reminds me of what Seneca, the Roman philosopher, said ages ago. Something about life being very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future.
That hits hard. And his warning that we might realize too late we've been preoccupied and doing nothing. It's quite a wake-up call.
It really is. And that's kind of the perfect lead-in to what we're exploring today, isn't it?
It is. That exact feeling, the constant mental churn, the not quite being here, that's our focus. Our mission for this deep dive is really about how we can genuinely live more fully in here. Well, in what John Kabat-Zinn calls the only moment we ever have.
Ugh, Kabat-Zinn. So we're getting into his work. Wherever you go, there you are. That book brought mindfulness to so many people.
That's the one. It really popularized this secular approach, mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR. We'll unpack that. But we're also going broader.
Broader how?
We'll look at how these ideas, this call to presence, aren't actually new at all. They're woven through, all sorts of historical and spiritual texts. It's a timeless human thing.
Okay, so connecting modern mindfulness like MBSR with its deeper roots. And the goal isn't about checking out of life, right?
Not at all. It's the opposite, really. It's about encountering life, the messy bits, the good bits, all of it more fully, more vibrantly.
Learning to be truly here. So how do these different traditions help us do that?
They offer these really practical ways, surprising sometimes, to connect with that deeper reality. And MBSR specifically teaches paying attention on purpose without judgment. That's key.
Without judgment. Okay, let's get into that. Section 1 then.
Yeah.
The core of mindfulness, presence, and attention. Kabat-Zinn uses some great imagery, right? Like the mountain.
He does, yeah. The mountain archetype is central. Think about it. A mountain is just there. Solid, immense, steady through storms, sun, everything.
Unshakable.
Right. And Kabat-Zinn suggests that in meditation we can sort of borrow those qualities. We cultivate that abiding presence and stillness.
So the mountain becomes a symbol for just holding the moment with that kind of elemental purity, as he says.
Exactly. And it points to this profound state of non-doing.
Okay, non-doing. In our world, that sounds weird. Like, aren't we supposed to be always doing something? Is it just sitting there?
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, but non-doing isn't about physical laziness. It's a mental state. It's about pausing the constant internal buzz, the planning, judging, fixing.
It's a less mental activity.
Less entanglement with it. The mountain doesn't try to be strong, it just is. Non-doing is resting in awareness, allowing things to be as they are without immediately needing to react or change them. It creates space.
And what usually blocks that space? What gets in the way?
Well, according to Ram Dass, it's pretty straightforward. The major obstacle at every stage of the path of enlightenment is our own thoughts.
Our own thoughts. Wow. Okay, how do they keep us separate? Separate from what?
Separate from our direct experience, mainly. Ram Dass argues thoughts keep us separate. Even thinking about unity, he says, is totally different from actually experiencing unity.
So the concept isn't the experience itself.
Exactly. Our thoughts create this layer, like a filter, between us and reality, always labeling, analyzing, judging. It stops us from just being with what is right now.
That makes sense. Constantly processing everything definitely puts a filter on things. Robert Pirsig in Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance talks about this too, right? The illusion of intellectual reality.
He does. He really pushes it. He says, the past exists only in our memories, the future only in our plans, the present is our only reality. Which sounds simple, but then he gets deeper.
How so?
He argues that even the tree you see, by the time your intellect processes it, labels it tree, green, whatever that tiny time lag means, the intellectual tree is already in the past. It's unreal in that sense.
Whoa. So the real reality is before the thought?
Yes. He calls it the moment of vision before the intellectualization takes place. A pre-intellectual reality. He gave it a name. Quality.
Quality. Okay, can you give an example? Like, what's the difference between seeing a sunset and just thinking, oh, nice colors?
Good question. Imagine you're listening to music for maybe a split second before your mind goes, ooh, that's Mozart, or the violin's a bit sharp. There's just sound. pure experience. That's quality.
We're like watching a kid totally lost and playing with blocks. Just pure focus, no commentary.
Exactly. The commentary comes after. She's having fun, but the direct, raw engagement before the thought, that's the reality Persig points to. And that's the space mindfulness, and MBSR helps us find again.
Okay, so if thoughts are often the obstacle, creating this illusion and pulling us from quality, then learning to gray. What? Step back from them. Disidentify. That seems huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And the untethered soul puts it so clearly, you are not your thoughts. You are simply aware of your thoughts. That's a game changer.
But how do you even start with that? Our thoughts feel so way us.
It starts with just noticing. Treat thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You, the observer, are the sky. The thoughts drift through. You aren't the cloud. The book points out your existence is not dependent upon the act of thinking.
Because thoughts can stop, right? And you're still there.
Exactly. And in that space, there's often complete peace, harmony, and quiet. Recognizing that observer, the awareness behind the thoughts, that's the key. It reveals who you really are.
I think I've felt that sometimes. Brief moments where the chatter just stops. It is peaceful. The untethered soul calls this the subject-object relationship with thoughts.
Yeah, it clarifies it well. You are the subject, and thoughts are just another object you can be aware of. You wouldn't say, I am that chair, right? You're aware of the chair.
Okay, so thoughts are just mental objects passing through my awareness.
Precisely. You hear them inside. You can even try to push them away, which shows you are separate from them. That you is the mindful observer Kabat-Zinn talks about.
And this constant identification with thoughts, this inner noise, can lead to what Eckhart Tolle calls background unhappiness.
Yes, he suggests this low-level dissatisfaction is the predominant inner state for many people, and it's not always obvious, dramatic stuff like rage.
He means the subtle things, like impatience, irritation.
Exactly. Nervousness and being fed up. It's like a constant hum of unease we barely notice because it's always there, like background static.
So how do we notice it?
Tolle says we need to be extremely alert and absolutely present, because detecting those subtle feelings as they arise is crucial. That moment of detection, that's a moment of awakening, of disidentification from the mind.
So catching the irritation before it becomes a full-blown bad mood, it gives you a choice.
Precisely. A moment of conscious awareness instead of just reacting on autopilot. And that's a core skill in MBSR, noticing without judgment.
Which brings us back to Seneca's warning about distraction. The price is so high if we don't cultivate this presence, this awareness in the everyday. He talks about people who complain time passes slowly because they're restless.
And they want to leap over the days in between, always rushing to the next thing, the weekend, the vacation.
But the irony, he says, is that the time of the actual enjoyment is short and swift, and made much shorter through their own fault.
It's so true. By always looking forward or back, we shrink the present. We miss the life we're actually living. Kabat-Zinn really emphasizes this. The present is all we have. Rushing through it means we're just preoccupied and doing nothing meaningful.
Like waiting for the main event and missing the whole show. This need to pause connects to Deepak Chopra's idea too, right? About stillness being required for manifesting desires, connecting to the field of pure potentiality.
Yes, that's his concept. The field of pure potentiality is like the infinite source. Pure consciousness, pure possibility before anything takes form. It's the quiet ground of being.
And stillness is the way in.
Stillness connects us. He uses that great analogy. A tiny intention, a faint impulse dropped into a still pond of consciousness makes big ripples. But if your mind is a turbulent ocean...
You could throw the Empire State Building in and not notice.
Exactly. The mental chaos just drowns everything out. Stillness allows intentions to resonate. He even quotes the Bible. Be still and know that I am God, linking inner quiet to divine potential. And that quiet is what MBSR helps cultivate.
So stillness isn't passive. It's creative space. If that's the goal, what's our most direct route? Always available.
The breath.
Yeah.
Always the breath. The Upanishads, those ancient Hindu texts, put it beautifully. Breath is the essence of the limbs. If breath leaves, the limb dries up.
Wow. It's seen as the life force itself.
Absolutely, prana. And they say, breaths are the truth, and it is the truth of them. By focusing on the simple physical sensation of breathing in and out, we anchor ourselves right here, right now.
It pulls you out of the mental turbulence.
Instantly. It's a reliable, rhythmic anchor back to the present. That's why conscious breathing is so fundamental in mindfulness and a core exercise in MBSR.
Okay, shifting into our second section. This isn't just about awareness, but also non-judgment and radical acceptance. Kabat-Zinn's core instruction. Paying attention on purpose without judgment. Is that just passive observation?
No, definitely not passive. It's an active stance, but a gentle one. Without judgment doesn't mean we lose our sense of right and wrong, or that we suddenly like everything.
So what does it mean?
It means observing what arises a thought, a feeling, a sound, without immediately slapping a label on it. Good, bad, right, wrong, like, dislike. It's about allowing it to be there, just as it is, without that extra layer of reactivity.
Creating space around the experience.
Exactly. And Deepak Chopra really clarifies the cost of not doing this. He says, judgment is the constant evaluation of things as right or wrong, good or bad.
And that constant evaluation, that labeling, it must create so much internal noise. Exhausting.
It is. Chopra calls it a lot of turbulence in your internal dialogue. This endless classifying and analyzing constricts the flow of energy between you and the field of pure potentiality.
It squeezes the gap between thoughts. I love that image.
Isn't it vivid? That gap, that tiny space of silence between thoughts is where insight and connection happen. Constant judgment squeezes it shut. So non-judgment is practical. It opens that gap, fosters that receptive awareness central to MBSR.
For a really down-to-earth take on this, Tamar Adler's overcooked vegetable metaphor is just perfect. If veggies get overcooked, she says they're soft, not burnt.
It's brilliant. Her advice, taste it first. Before you try to fix it, see if you like it as is, and if it is totally mushy, your direction is clear, whatever it is, mash it.
Textual reconsideration.
Textual reconsiderations can be your best friend. It's such a lovely, simple example of accepting what is without fighting it, and then finding a creative path forward, letting go of should be and working with is. That's radical acceptance in the kitchen.
A lesson for life. Which leads nicely to Tara Brach and cultivating radical acceptance for inner peace. She has an exercise starting with the body, right?
Yes. She guides you to open your attention to include your body in a comprehensive way, to feel it as a field of changing sensations, sense the subtle energy field within.
Feeling life from the inside out.
And then she asks those probing questions, is anything solid? Is there a center? Can you find a solid self owning these sensations? Who or what is aware?
Those questions really challenge our fixed ideas about ourselves.
They do. They're designed to dissolve those rigid concepts and invite us into the fluid, changing reality of now.
And her core instruction here is the art of allowing. Don't manage or manipulate. Don't grasp or push anything away. Does that mean we just let problematic thoughts or urges run wild?
That's a really important clarification. No, it's not about permissiveness towards harmful actions. It's about your stance towards your internal experience, the thoughts, feelings, sensations themselves.
So allowing the feeling of anger, but not necessarily acting on it.
Exactly. You acknowledge the anger is there. You feel its energy in your body. You observe it without judging yourself for feeling it and without letting it hijack your behavior. You simply open to the changing dance of sensations. That's non-resistance.
Tara Brach tells that story about Sarah and the food craving. That really illustrates it.
It does. Sarah feels the urge to eat more, even though she's full. Instead of giving in or beating herself up, she sits with it. She mentally says, this too, feeling the tension, the anxiety, the urge.
Feeling it fully.
And when the self-criticism starts, you're so weak, she whispers mentally, it's not my fault, it's not my fault.
Offering yourself compassion for the desire itself.
Yes. That act of pausing and forgiving herself for the feeling cleared the path to radical acceptance. Meeting the difficult feeling with awareness and kindness instead of fighting it or shaming herself. That's mindful practice in action.
This idea of non-judgment isn't just internal either. It extends to actions and outcomes. The Bhagavad Gita talks about renouncing the fruits of his actions. What does that actually mean in practice? Don't care about results.
It's more subtle than that. It means being fully committed to the action, doing your best, acting with integrity, but letting go of attachment to a specific outcome.
Like the surgeon doing their best, but accepting they can't guarantee the result.
Exactly. Your duty, your focus, is on the action itself, performed with presence. You accept that the results are influenced by many factors beyond your control. This frees you from the anxiety of expectation and the pain of disappointment. It aligns perfectly with Kabat-Zinn's focus on the present moment, without being rigidly attached to future outcomes.
Lessening that dependence on results for our self-worth. This connects nicely to the Taoist idea of Pooh, the uncarved block, which we see in Pooh Bear.
Ah, yes, the uncarved block. It represents that natural, simple state of being, before we complicate everything with too much thinking and judging. Our original nature.
The book asks, is brain all that important? Does intellect always lead us right?
Or does it sometimes send us in the wrong direction, ignoring that quieter voice within us? Pu encourages connecting with that innate, simple wisdom rather than just relying on complex analysis. It's about trusting intuition, returning to openness like beginner's mind in mindfulness.
And Pu's advice for finding the enchanted place. Just take the path to nothing and go nowhere until you reach it.
Which is, a wonderfully poetic way of saying, stop striving, stop chasing, and find contentment right here. The magic isn't somewhere else. It's in the stillness of the now. The moment itself is enough.
Okay, moving into our third section, embracing all experience, light, dark, and the self. This feels crucial. It's not just about finding bliss. Kabat-Zinn says the journey takes us down as well as up, demanding we face pain and darkness as well as joy and light. Why is facing the dark stuff so important?
Because wholeness requires embracing everything. If we only chase the light and run from the dark, we stay fragmented. True growth means bringing mindful awareness to the difficult stuff too, challenging emotions, pain, uncomfortable thoughts without resisting them.
Using whatever comes up as material for inquiry.
Exactly. As Kabat-Zinn says, use it for opening, for growing in strength and wisdom. It's not about loving suffering, but about meeting it with courage and curiosity, learning from it instead of being defined by it. This is fundamental to MBSR, which helps people work skillfully with stress and pain, not just escape them.
He uses that amazing language about our inner figures, demons, dragons, dwarfs, witches, but also princes and princesses, all ready to teach us. How do we listen without getting, consumed by our demons?
It's about bringing that non-judgmental awareness to them. Seeing these inner figures, our fears, wounds, strengths, hopes, as holding lessons. The demon might be an old fear, the princess an unexpressed potential. Listening means acknowledging their presence, understanding their message, but not necessarily becoming them.
So acknowledging the fear without letting it paralyze you.
Precisely. Integrating these parts, rather than rejecting them, leads to a more complete self. It reframes challenges as opportunities.
This idea of finding growth in darkness echoes St. John of the Cross's dark night of the soul, doesn't it? He says the soul makes greater gain when traveling in darkness knowing not. That sounds terrifying.
It does sound terrifying. He's talking about a spiritual darkness, a period where old comforts, beliefs, even intellectual understandings fall away. The soul is stripped bare of attachments.
A kind of purification.
Yes. He calls it habitual suffering, yet without weariness. This emptying process, though painful, leads to a very deep peace and a more intimate and refined connection to the divine, precisely because the ego structures are dismantled. Feeling lost, knowing not, actually opens the space for a more direct, unmediated experience. God becomes the guide in that emptiness.
It validates that really difficult inner work is sometimes necessary for transformation.
Absolutely. And this often involves shedding the ego's illusions. Siddhartha's story is such a powerful example. After all his striving, he hits this point of deep sadness, feeling like everything inside him just died.
It's like rock bottom.
It was the death of the small, frightened, and proud self he'd wrestled with for years, the ego that kept coming back. And in that complete letting go, by the river, he became like a child, so full of trust, so without fear, so full of joy.
Profound liberation through surrender.
Totally. And Philo de Germanica, that medieval text, describes the state as true obedience, being quit of himself, of his I and me and self and mine.
So free that you barely regard yourself.
Yeah.
Like you don't exist. That sounds extreme.
It is extreme. It's a radical surrender of the ego-driven self. Not seeking or regarding himself means acting beyond personal gain or self-interest, aligning with universal principles, that which we may call God, rather than individualistic desires. It's not about erasing yourself, but transcending that self-centered view.
Acting from clarity and wisdom, not just habit or neediness.
Right. And the untethered soul takes it even further. You realize that you're not who you thought you were. You're not even a human being. You just happen to be watching one.
Okay, that's really mind-bending. How do you practice watching a human being? What does that even feel like?
It's about shifting your identity from the character in the movie, your thoughts, body, roles, to the awareness watching the screen, seeing the human drama unfold without being lost in it.
So when anger comes up, it's awareness is noticing anger in the human being I'm watching.
Something like that, yes. It creates this incredible space and freedom. You identify with the vast awareness, not the limited human experience, moving consciousness from the finite to the infinite. It's a core outcome of deep mindfulness practice.
Which leads to this other crucial point. Embodied knowing versus just thinking you know something.
Mm.
Siddhartha realized he needed to get a taste of everything for oneself.
And he made that distinction. I have known it for a long time intellectually, but I have experienced only now. And now I know it in my eyes, in my heart, in my stomach.
Knowing it in your gut, not just your head.
Exactly. Intellectual knowledge is data. Embodied knowing is visceral, integrated. It changes how you are, not just what you think. You can know anger is bad, but feeling it constrictures your chest. That's knowing in your stomach. That's the kind of knowing mindfulness cultivates real, lived wisdom.
And Pirsig points out the barrier here. Intellectuals often have the most trouble seeing quality because they're so quick to analyze and categorize.
Right. Their minds instantly slap intellectual frameworks onto everything, missing the raw, direct experience. He contrasts this with children or less educated people who might find it easier because they're less predisposed to constant intellectualizing.
It's not anti-intellect, but about knowing its limits. Sometimes you need to drop the analysis to truly perceive.
Precisely, which MBSR, in its secular way, helps adults relearn how to just perceive without the immediate need to dissect.
Okay, final section. Cultivating inner space and right intention. Getting practical. Rolla May talks about needing both a marketplace and mountain. What's that about?
It's about balance. We need engagement with the world, the marketplace of work, relationships, daily life. But we also need withdrawal, reflection, the mountain. Creativity thrives on this alternation.
Like recharging the batteries to get fresh perspective.
Exactly. Stepping away allows for synthesis, insight. But May stresses it's not just about taking breaks. It's about the capacity for the constructive use of solitude.
Being able to let the solitude work for us. How does it work?
Well, May points out our modern fear of solitude. We fill silence with noise, distraction. Kierkegaard called it constant agitated diversion. This prevents insights from unconscious depths from emerging.
So solitude isn't empty, it's fertile ground.
Yes. It's where we can process, reflect, and connect with ourselves more deeply. Allowing that quiet lets the unconscious speak. It's vital for presence, something Kabat-Zinn encourages finding even in small moments.
And in that inner space, intention and will become really important. Gary Zukav says, choice is the engine of our evolution, and every choice has an intention.
Right, and intention is the quality of consciousness you bring to a thought or action. Becoming aware of intention requires that same mindfulness pausing before choosing.
Asking, am I ready for the consequences? And is this what I really want?
Exactly, not just surface wants, but aligning with deeper values. Zukav stresses choosing intentions from love instead of intentions that come from fear. Love leads to joy. Fear leads to pain or painful karma.
So consciously choosing generosity over insecurity, for example.
Yes, aligning with your soul instead of with your personality. That, he says, creates heaven on earth. It's a constant practice of checking our motivation.
This echoes Theologia Germaниca's idea of surrendering self-will to God, or the eternal will. So the will isn't your own anymore. How is that not passive?
It's not passive, it's aligned. It's moving beyond purely personal, ego-driven desires, I want this, to acting in harmony with a larger wisdom or purpose. When the individual will is purified of self-interest, it becomes an instrument for something greater.
So your actions flow more naturally, more wisely.
That's the idea. Less struggle against life, more flowing with its deeper currents. A profound alignment.
And the cloud of unknowing calls the spiritual path the shortest work of love. Not through intellect, but loving power.
Yes, it emphasizes a direct, heart-centered approach over complex thought. It's shortest because it cuts through intellectual detours straight to the essence, direct, loving attention and surrender. It's a continuous miracle of love, not a one-time task.
Bringing this all together practically, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras outline a system, right? The parts of the yoga process.
Yes, the 8 limbs. It's a comprehensive path. Moral restraints, like non-harming, observances, like contentment, posture, breath control, sense withdrawal, concentration, meditation, and deep absorption, samadhi.
A step-by-step guide.
A very systematic one. Consistent practice leads to elimination of the impurity, mental clutter, basically, and develops a radiant organ of perception, culminating in steady, discriminative insight.
And this leads to conquest over sensual grasping, getting free from being pushed around by desires and reactions.
Exactly. Mastery over our relationship with sense objects and the mind's tendency to identify with everything. This allows perception of subtler realities, the superphysical and spiritual, leading to steadiness of mind.
And fusion of attention into the Chit Akash. What's that?
Chit Akash, the space of consciousness. Imagine the vast, silent, luminous inner sky of awareness itself. Reaching that state means the mind is incredibly still, clear, unified. Attention isn't scattered, it's fused with this higher reality. It's a profound, inner quiet and knowing.
Wow. And finally, resilience. The Bhagavad Gita's teaching. Be as tolerant as a tree.
Such a powerful image. A tree just stands, enduring everything: heat, wind, rain, even being harmed, yet continues to give shelter and fruit.
Meeting challenges with unwavering presence.
Exactly. Enduring so many impediments with steadfastness and equanimity. It echoes Kabat-Zinn's mountain grounded, present, resilient through all seasons. Radical acceptance in action.
What an incredible journey through these ideas today, from just noticing our breath to, well, the Chittakash. We've covered so much ground.
We really have. Starting with Seneca's timeless warning, moving through Kabat-Zinn's practical mindfulness and the mountain image.
Learning to see thoughts as objects with Ram Dass and the Untethered Soul, spotting Tolle's background on happiness.
Finding stillness with Chopra and the breath with the Upanishads, then diving into non-judgment, the overcooked vegetable, Tara Brach's radical acceptance.
Letting go of outcomes with the Gita, finding simplicity with Poo's uncarved block.
Embracing the dark side with Kabat-Zinn and St. John of the Cross, shedding the small self like Siddhartha, questioning identity with Theologia Germanica and the untethered soul.
Distinguishing head knowing from gut knowing with Siddhartha and Persig. Finding value in solitude with Rollo May.
Understanding intention with Zukov, surrendering will with Theologia Germanica, the power of love in the cloud of unknowing, and finally, the structured path of Yoga Sutras and the resilience of the tree.
It all seems to circle back to the power of simply being present, here and now. And as Kabat-Zinn reminds us, maybe the most spiritual thing is just to look through our own eyes, see with eyes of wholeness, and act with integrity and kindness.
It brings it right back to embodied living, doesn't it? Not abstract ideas, but how we actually are moment by moment.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to chew on. If reality truly exists in that Persig moment, that quality before thought kicks in, what would happen if more of us really tried to live from that space?
What if we collectively operated more from that pre-intellectual reality? If we identified more as the awareness, the self, the soul that Singer describes, rather than just our limited human forms?
Navigating life from radical acceptance, pure presence, what new truths might open up for us then? Not just personally, but, globally.
A huge question. It really invites us to keep exploring the potential hidden in every single present moment, doesn't it? The potential that mindfulness, in all these varied forms, points us towards.
Something definitely worth pondering. We hope this conversation sparks something for you today, maybe a little more space to just be. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.